really appreciate being here today. Good afternoon. As Ken said, my name is Rich Oaks. I'm the president of GigSmart. I appreciate the opportunity to share this time with all of you today. Prior to GigSmart, as Ken mentioned, I spent 12 years in auto finance. And since leaving the industry, I have continued to follow it very closely because I have so many dear friends in the space. And because of my tenure in auto finance, for me, this message today is kind of like going back home to visit. So a very sincere thank you to the FICO team for including GigSmart today in this event. Over the next 10 minutes, we're going to be discussing the driving force behind today's labor market. Why is this so important? Well, across industries, the trends in the U.S. labor market impact us all. Identifying these trends can enhance our company's speed of execution, our productivity, as well as have a very positive impact on our company's culture. Not addressing these labor trends can leave us stuck in a labor market where our companies aren't optimized to keep up with service levels and customer expectations. So we're going to dive into 4 shifts, 4 trends impacting today's labor market. Trend number 1. At the risk of coming across as Mr. Obvious, we all know that there are significant shifts in remote work versus on-site work today. On-site work will never go away completely. There are jobs in manufacturing, production, logistics, operations, and many others where someone must be at the office or the facility or the job site to complete the work. But let's talk about some real stats. These are real trends. Prior to this current crisis, 7% of the U.S. workforce worked from home. In today's COVID environment, over 60% of the U.S. workforce is working remotely. This remote trend has been growing year over year, but we can all agree that it's been accelerated by this crisis. Trend number 2, in a recent study commissioned by my organization, GigSmart, 78% of those interviewed said that scheduling flexibility is an absolute, capital A, necessity when searching for my next job. Once again, the trend has been growing year over year. People want more flexibility. This want has been amplified by COVID, and it's no longer a want. In the labor market, it is a need. We all know friends, family, maybe it's you if you're on this call today and attending this event that's been trying to manage homeschooling. I personally have 2 little girls, 7 and 13. We've all seen or experienced the challenges of working from home and becoming overnight a full-time homeschool teacher. I can say from experience, it's a cluster. It's brutal. And this talk about generations, I'm a Gen Xer, and I've spent most of my life working for baby boomers in much of my career. And research after research after research shows that baby boomers are the 60-plus hour a week generation. And I've worked for baby boomers, and because of that, I've worked very hard. And in many cases, my hours that I put in, when I put them in, is driven by that baby boomer or my boss's wishes. This is when they want me working, despite the fact that much of the work that I've done over the years, not all of it, but much of it, could have been done at different times of the day. American workers, this trend, are willing to work hard. They're willing to put in the hours. But the need for flexibility regarding when those hours take place is real, and it is a huge trend that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Trend number 3, year over year, more and more companies are challenging their outdated biases regarding 3 questions. Question number 1, does my entire organization need to be W-2 employees? Forbes recently ran an article outlining that many companies are sourcing independent contractors at a higher rate than they're hiring employees, specifically marketing, technical departments. As much as 40 to 50% of those departments are independent contractors, Google being one of the many examples in this article. Question number 2, do the majority of my employees need to work on-site within a commercial setting? REI Co-op, a $2.5 billion outdoor recreational company, just announced last week in a press release. They're selling their 8-acre corporate campus outside of Seattle and transitioning corporate personnel to remote work. Question number 3, is a physical retail location the best option, the only option to sell my product or service? Well, during the toughest weeks and months of this crisis to date, when some dealerships were closed, Carvana grew their business 25% last quarter with their contactless delivery model. See, these are very crucial questions that are being asked. And I've shared with you very specific examples of companies making bold moves, bold pivots to make changes versus what has historically been done. Trend 4, there's an increasingly an alignment between American workers and what they want and companies and what they want. And when I say that, people are, what's that mean? That workers and companies want the same thing? Yes. There is an increasing alignment between what workers want and what companies want. The research is inarguable. American workers are seeking, they need flexibility and control over rigid, traditional, full-time, W-2 structured employment. Over 50 million Americans last year completed a gig. They picked up a side hustle. They need flexibility. And companies, this is great because it's in alignment, year over year, are looking for ways to incorporate flex labor strategies. We all, if you don't, I know people that run accounting firms, I'm sure we all know someone. Think about an accounting firm. 50% of the year, they're overstaffed. The remaining part of the year, they're understaffed. Think about call centers, auctions, dealerships, landscaping companies, retail, hospitality. I could go on and on, all struggle with staffing seasonal increases in business. So as a recap, let's talk these 4 trends. Trend number 1, significant shift from on-site to remote work. Trend number 2, significantly more workers year over year say scheduling flexibility is an absolute necessity when they're evaluating whether they're going to consider a job opportunity. Trend number 3, more and more companies are challenging some outdated biases. Does my entire org need to be W-2 employees? Do the majority of my employees need to work on-site? Is the physical location the best option, the only option to sell my product or service? And then trend number 4, increasing alignment between what workers want and what companies want. What's the punchline? It's a lot of stats, a lot of examples. What's it mean? It boils down to this. More and more American workers need flexibility and control, and more companies want flex labor solutions. So as leaders, what are we going to do about it? That's the question. None of this means anything unless we react. So let's talk about, as leaders of organizations, what action should we take? Well, here's what I propose. I propose every company in the U.S. across industries should audit each department and each role within that department. The strongest companies moving forward, those recruiting the best talent, executing and producing at a speed that meets and exceeds customer expectations, will be the companies that recognize these trends and have a healthy mix between on-site and remote employees, as well as a healthy mix between W-2 employees, third-party outsourced solutions, and independent contractors as part of their staffing strategy. The companies that do that, they acknowledge these trends, they incorporate those tactics. These are the companies, by embracing these trends and adjusting their strategies They're going to save money. They're going to source and secure the best talent in the industry. They're going to fill positions faster. They're going to experience less turnover. And they are going to consistently outproduce their competitors who haven't adjusted to the current times. Thanks so much for allowing me to participate in this today. I am very active on LinkedIn. If you would like to connect, I would love that opportunity. Reach out if you need anything. Thanks so much.